Alright, what is up everybody? Back today with another video on the channel, and I've got another unboxing and general overview for you today. And I have got another new to me company. Obviously this is a Giantmouse knife. Giantmouse makes quite a few knives, and they make some pretty popular stuff. This is what I would say their most popular knife, and I'd probably even say their most well-liked knife. So the Ace series is kind of, I guess you would say, their production series. They make knives like the GM5, the Giantmouse 5, which was a titanium frame lock version of this knife, and then only make, I think, 400 of those. But anyways, this is a production knife, and this is the newest version of this knife. So let's get right into it here. I haven't had one of these knives before. The only other Italian style knife I've had is I had a Lion Steel, and I got the Kerr, the K-U-R. More of an inexpensive knife. I didn't really love it. It was kind of stiff, so I ended up sending it back. But anyways, let's get into this knife. So it comes with their box here. It's a Ace Grand, red micarta, and then everything else is blacked out. So we get here, get a nice pouch there, get a card. Let's see what we get here. Giantmouse knives. Little card there. Oh, nice pouch. I like that. Oh, and there is the knife. So I have had this out for a minute to look it over. And I put just a little bit of oil in there. But other than that, I have not messed with it. You can see the micarta just a little bit where I've handled it. Let's see, action drop. Ooh. Pretty nice, pretty nice. Centered. Pretty well centered. It might be hugging the show side just a tiny bit. Overall though, looks pretty good. Check it out. You got your titanium back spacer here. Lanyard hole, nice wire clip. Good tension on that. Now with this version, like it says, you get the red micarta, and then everything else is blacked out. So you get a, can't remember if this is PVD or DLC, but it is a coated, then stone washed finish, and no marking at all on the show side. On the back side, you get Ace, and this is in M390. All the other versions out right now are in LMAX. So something else different with this version. Now your standard versions with the satin blade and either the natural or green micarta, I think they also have an orange G10 option, run $195. This model with the red micarta and then everything blacked out, including your hardware, back spacer, clip, and your liners, this one runs $240. So $45 is a bit of a jump, just for coating everything, but I did pick this up from DLT, and I had $50 in from my points I cashed in. So I got this for $190, and to be honest with you, that's a pretty solid price on this knife. So the first thing you'll notice here probably is the deployment hole. This is another deployment hole knife. No thumb studs, no flipper tab, just a deployment hole, and that is slowly becoming the main focus of my collection. As I sell some older stuff, everything new I buy tends to have a deployment hole, unless it's something like the Chavez or, you know, stuff like that. But as I look through my collection, I see less and less thumb studs. Don't really see any flippers. Not a big flipper knife guy, but there's a lot of deployment holes. The reverse flick is my preferred way of knife opening, and I am a lefty, so this knife, being a liner lock, very lefty friendly. Now when closing it, obviously not, but I have trained myself to come across here and then close it down. Now this knife, as I said, M390 blade still. Very attractive blade here. You kind of got this harpoon going on up here with a more of a drop point style on the top. They do round off the blade spine there. Gives that a very nice look. Then you get a little bit of jimping right here, which is kind of a Jesper Voxnay's thing, which he is part of Giantmouse, if I'm not mistaken. Now this deployment hole is pretty specific to the Giantmouse brand. This shape anyway is almost kind of like a mouse's ear, if you will. But I do really like the shape of that. It allows you to get your middle finger up in the top where it's bigger. To flick it out, you can either use the fleshy part of your finger there like this, or you can tuck a nail in. Works just as well. And again, this is a liner lock knife. This has steel liners. You know, it is what it is. For the price point, not mad at that. I do think we have a steel pocket clip, and you do get the titanium backspacer. I do believe the hardware is steel as well. Very nice filling micarta. It's funny, I was not big on micarta at all until I was. I got the what is it, the Christensen Knife Works Maverick S. That was a titanium liner lock with micarta over it, and I really like that micarta. That was Riot micarta, which I've had once or twice. So then I ended up getting a lefty micarta Axon, and now I have this micarta knife. So I guess you could say micarta is growing on me. You know, I do kind of like the red, and I think once that darkens up a little bit, it'll look very nice. Now the clip on this is reversible, which is another plus for me. I do enjoy the wire clips, and this one, the retention is perfect on it. I haven't switched it yet because I'm going to wear the micarta in by playing with it, because under the clip, you know, obviously you don't get any oils there. So I'm going to wear that in on this side, and then switch the clip and wear the other side in, which is nice to be able to do. The action on this knife runs on bearings, and very smooth. I did dabble a little bit of KPL in there. I can't remember if it's ceramic or steel bearings. I'm thinking it's steel bearings, if I'm not mistaken. But they do make skiffs that fit in this. But the action right now, you do get guillotine down to the thumb. 2 or 3 little shakes and it's in. If you let it drop and then give it one decent shake, it's straight in. So very smooth on the action. This is marketed as kind of a heavy use knife. Size wise, we're right under 8 inches overall. Let's take a look at this blade and see what we're at with the blade. Looks like right at 3 1/4. Well, 3 1/8 on sharpened, 3 1/4 to 3. I guess you could say 3 1/2 overall. Keep moving it home. Now we're right at 3 1/4 sharpened, 3 1/2 overall, and then 7 3/4 on the overall length of the knife. Closed right under 4 1/2. So I would consider this a full-size knife, maybe on the smaller end of a full-size knife, but it's actually a very good size. I was expecting it to be just a little bit bigger, that's what she said, but in hand it feels really good. You guys, if you don't know, I have large hands. Wear a XL to 2XL glove, and 3 fingers very comfortably. The pinky's hanging here, but with that slanted back, it still feels very good in hand. A Saber Grip feels really good as well, and with this jimping up here, I feel like I can really get behind to do some good push cuts. Reverse grip, very comfortable as well. You can get the thumb on the end. Pinch grip with the jimping there works very good as well. Now, some of the complaints I've seen on this knife is the liner lock access, and show you here, there is a little bit of a recess, and it's nowhere near like if you've had the Spyderco Gail Bradley 2. That one is ridiculous. I don't know how that makes it out of the factory. This one, while it's not great access, it's not that bad in my opinion. I'm less nitpicky on things like that. It is jimped very well. That's fairly aggressive jimping there, and it's through the whole duration of the lock bar access. So I'm able to get on it, and I have not had a problem, you know, closing this knife. Now, where I'm left-handed, I'm very used to coming across like this and then closing the knife. So it's even less of a problem as a lefty, and that jimping also helps. I'm not usually one to ask for jimping, but on a lock bar liner lock, I do prefer it. As I said, the deployment hole is chamfered really well. No sharp edges at all there. Very comfortable in the hand. Overall, they've done a fantastic job on this knife. I personally don't really have any complaints so far. I think this will break in really well. The only thing is maybe that centering, just slightly off, but I am going to do a disassembly, full disassembly on this before too long. Probably break it in a few days, then tear it down and Loctite it back together, and we'll see if I can get that perfect. Once I do that, it's very close. It is very close, but you can kind of see in the spacing up here, slightly off. But for the money, guys, you're getting a lot of knife here. It's a good size knife. It's really rounded overall. It's very comfortable in the hand, and I see why this is one of their most popular knives. I think they've done a great job on this, and this is definitely going to get some pocket time. Also very fidgety, and the bearing action is very nice. Maybe. Now the detent, real quick, let's talk about the detent. A little bit on the lighter side. I would compare it to a liner lock Axon. Not the strongest, but no issue firing it out, and I wouldn't really call it weak. More mid-range, but for me, I think it'll be just fine. No complaints there. One last thing, do a quick sharpness test. Oh, she's sharp. Very sharp. That was my fault. Yeah, very sharp. Nice. Check out that bevel. They've done a great job here, guys. I really like the overall aesthetic of this knife, and once this micarta wears in a little bit, darkens up, I'm really going to dig it. I like the titanium backspacer, the look it gives, and with everything blacked out, I'm very happy with this one. It's a good addition to the collection here. It's gone a little long, but I hope you enjoyed. If you were thinking about one of these, I wouldn't hesitate to pick one up. Really nicely done. So I appreciate you guys watching. Follow for more knife content coming weekly. And have a great day.